Woo, boys, good night watch, baby. We gonna talk about that there green backpack, man. We got in our car, man. It's a Friday night, buddy. You go party down. My voice really can't take much of that shit. But, so let's move forward. What have I done to my pack lately? Well, the first thing I did was I got rid of this heavy cover canteen, titanium canteen cup, and canteen cover lid. Because honestly, it looks like if you carry this in where there's people around and you aren't hiding in the wilderness with doing some stealth camping or whatever it is you do, and I don't even care. It's not my business. It's just, it's up to you. It's between you and your therapist. It looks like you're whacked out of your fucking gourd. Whip this shit out in front of 100,000 people and let's talk about it. See, Guns, Knives, and Watches, the character, he can carry shit like this. He can use shit like this. But me, unfortunately, in my life, even though I am probably the biggest prick you will ever meet and do not give a shit whether you live or die, don't give a shit about you in any way, shape, form, or fashion. If my blood doesn't run through your veins, you basically don't exist. But that's me. That means there's very few people in this world that know me. I have no friends. I have never had any friends. Because friends have always tried to use me in such a way because I've always been wealthy. I have always lived a life of privilege. And I learned a long time ago to sit back and let others take the credit. There is nothing in your life you cannot achieve if you don't care who takes the credit. And of course, I always set people up for taking the credit. In fact, groom them, manipulate them, and make it to where they have a life. But in the same way, they offer me a life. I learned that a long time ago. You might ought to hear it again. There is nothing in this world you can't achieve if you don't care who takes the credit. Normally, typically, you would have to hear that a few times to understand it. Maybe you'll go back and watch the video multiple times. This tells me, what does it remind me of? It reminds me of a Vietnam vet coming back with post-traumatic stress disorder before they diagnosed it, or someone trying to live in a past that never existed 100 years ago. Because this is a modern version of ancient shit. And it's not something that I'm really interested in carrying around. Instead of that very capable, it's a very capable piece of kit. It can do a tremendous amount of work. It is very light. It is $150 fucking dollars, folks. And you look like you're whacked out of your gourd. What part of expensive and nutty don't we get? Because if this is normalcy in the United States of America, we're fucked. I made the video about the political campaigns and about Donald Trump, and oh my God, I can't even start on Donald Trump because it will go way overboard. Hillary Clinton, I'm not a fan of. Any of the Republican, since when has this been the biggest loser wins? Anyway, so basically I switched back to the clean canteen because I can actually use this one, and this clean canteen hasn't been dropped or anything happened to it because my other one got beat up quite a bit because it's very good stainless steel. It's not the thickest. One of the things that a lot of people kind of comment on, this, that, or the other, is if you deal with food and things inside of this, which this is only for water for me, that there are, of course, these indentions where it's pressed in there and da 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 and this there or the other. Well, the same thing happens if you pay $150 for this, folks. Except they're in the reverse order, okay? Am I saying this is not a good piece of kit? No, it's a great piece of kit if you live in the sticks. If you actually have to deal with humanity and deal in an urban setting, which I have to, this is the reality. When I go on vacation, I go to be around hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people, because I really get tired of living where I live, because it's a very, very small place. And it's kind of a shell shock when you go from living around 27 million people to living where I live. In fact, it is the largest shell shock I've ever dealt with in my life. And it's like I've lived in, of course, Nashville, Lexington, lived down in South Florida, lived a lot of different places. I have never in my life lived a place as small as I currently live or was born in. But, it's just the way it is. You never know sometimes. So anyway, I, of course, implemented these Granite Gear Tactical Gear stuff sacks, even though they are uber heavy. They probably added 2-3 ounces to my kit, which is the weight, probably the weight of a knife, a good pocket knife, let's say the Benchmade 940. And of course I've got the titanium lid from whoever the fuck that was. Who the hell knows? One of those guys. He made the stove in this kit. But see, the number 4 will take this, and I want to correct this one because this is a, whatever the fuck this is, Snow Peak. It's a Snow Peak pot, 1400. And of course I've got my orange bandana in there, my salt and pepper shakers, my soap, Victorinox, matches, this there, the other, a fire steel, and then some aluminum foil. And then my stove, and that's from 4 Dog Stoves. 4 Dog Stoves, I remember that. Wow, we're rolling, rocking and rolling, partying on today. One of the things with the 4 Dog Stoves handle on here, mine loosened up, so all I did was I basically unscrewed it, took wooden matches, cut them to length, 2 pieces of wooden match, and then screwed it back in, and that really works. And of course I did my hole. Anyway. So we have a Snow Peak 1400. I wonder if I'll remember that. Snow Peak 1400. Snow Peak 1400. Snow Peak 1400. I'll try to. Of course, we have our titanium windscreen and all that other crap. But this is basically where the kit's going to stay. I'm really not interested in all this other shit, even though I have tried to integrate things like this into my pack. Because I've tried to take the information from other people and this, there, or the other. It just doesn't work in my environment, nor does it work in any environment where someone that isn't suffering from some major mental illness would live unless you're retired or work online. If you work online and live out in the sticks, this might work. I don't know how in the real world you're going to be able to have a successful life, make a lot of money, and spend the time doing that crazy shit. But everybody's got to have a hobby. This is Guns, Knives, and Watches, and this is basically where my kit's pretty much going to stay. Of course, everyone knows that I have always carried a clean canteen, and all basically I've done is taken the canteen cup out and gone to something that's plastic, just because it's microwave safe. And in the real world, as I said, this backpack is for bugging out, but it's for bugging out someplace like the Four Seasons, the Hilton Resort, or any of the other resorts that we commonly frequent. Because that, in reality, in those type of situations are what you have to deal with. You're not bugging out into the wilderness if that's not your normal environment, and you're definitely not going to survive there for very long, nor will you probably survive there in the mountains or wherever else. But if you wish to go to an unpopulated area, you will learn why it's an unpopulated area. Have a good one. Peace out.